Just announced this past week, AJ Styles and Alexander Cross will face off in an Intercontinental Championship steel cage match. Let's see if AJ can finally dethrone Alexander Cross.
The following contest is a steel cage match and is for the WWE Intercontinental Championship.
The Intercontinental Championship on the line. Alexander Cross, one of the most dominant defenders of all time, has defended the title against countless opponents. Matt Riddle, Goldberg even challenged him in a Saudi show. Had a ton of defenses for this belt. And we begin with a sharp kick attempt from Alexander Cross, and he follows up with some chops after AJ Styles ducks under. These two have met before in the ring, so they are very well scouted. Alexander Cross very much going back to his roots and the offense that he used right when he started, as he kind of enters the twilight of his career. We have seen so many different faces from Alexander Cross. We've seen the Voyager when he first arrived, focused on trying to make that name for himself, and he has succeeded in doing so. Early pin attempt after a top rope elbow drop, get to 1 count. AJ Styles kicks out. It's going to take a lot more than that to get the win here from Alexander Cross. Alexander Cross working with the crowd, trying to get into AJ Styles' head and try to take him out like that. AJ Styles picks up and clocks Alexander Cross before planting him with an inverted DDT. And then another kick to the back of the head of Alexander Cross. Alexander Cross really letting AJ Styles get the offense in. Not very common at this stage in Alexander Cross's career. Potentially working with an injury, potentially working a little under the weather. An early kick out, an early pin attempt from AJ Styles. A brain buster before working that arm of Alexander Cross's, trying to make sure that he can't pick up AJ for the out to sea, which is the finisher that Alexander Cross has been using more recently over End of Days and the other ones that he has used in the past, really going back to the basics for Alexander Cross. A Davy Jones locker was just locked in on AJ, and AJ worked out of it. AJ obviously knows how a submission works and obviously knows how to work around it, especially something like Davy Jones, which is essentially just a bulldog type choke. Sharp kick from AJ, knocking over Alexander Cross, and before dropping him right into that knee and stunning Alexander Cross before we get a 2 count and then a kick out. AJ really getting that offense in, really starting to wear on Alexander Cross as he tries to make an attempt out of the cage, working his way up. Alexander Cross groggy as he gets up, but gets right on AJ, throwing his knee right into that steel cage and then onto the ground, really trying to slow down AJ Styles. As Alexander Cross moves again and does another diving top rope elbow and a running leg drop on to AJ Styles before picking him up and planting him again for another Davy Jones, really trying to just wear out AJ Styles, really bring down his energy, try to limit that very fast offense we get from AJ in these matches that he really hasn't been able to get in very much against Alexander Cross. Alexander Cross, another very quick athlete, very able to keep up with AJ Styles, catching him with a jumping inverted DDT before trying to make another attempt out of the cage. Alexander Cross putting a stop to that as well. Alexander Cross does not want to lose this title by just AJ walking out of the cage when he would much rather just be pinned by AJ if he is to lose the Intercontinental title here today. Alexander Cross is one of the greatest, one of the best we've ever seen hold all the belts in WWE. Very, very, very prolific performer, and definitely is of Hall of Fame caliber. A interesting match for sure so far. Lots of kicks, lots of punches, really working into those spots. Calf crusher being locked in onto Alexander Cross, really trying to stop those legs. Alexander Cross working out trying to figure out how to get out of this hold, and AJ Styles just continuing to lean it in, working out those kicks before getting a sharp elbow to the back of AJ Styles. AJ counters counters a move Alexander Cross is trying to do before putting him into Styles Clash. Styles Clash cut X this has put so many people away. Can it put Alexander Cross out? Kick out at 2.9. AJ Styles frantically trying to escape the cage while Alexander Cross is still pinned down and weary from the Styles Clash. Springs up and has to chase after AJ Styles as he is making his way over that top. Alexander Cross trying to grab at those legs to prevent AJ from going over. Really trying to slow this man down so he can't just run away from the cage. Real perilous situation here. Alexander Cross slowly walking away, trying to just regroup and regain some of that momentum, potentially, before dragging AJ back in and throwing him into the steel cage, just like that. Trying to knock him down off of this. Alexander Cross could go for an escape attempt, but that is not the way of Alexander Cross. Alexander Cross wants to pin AJ Styles, going for a diving elbow drop as AJ Styles rolls out of the way and continues to try and escape from the cage. AJ believes that if he's going to win this match, he'll probably have to run away, just like the coward that he is. Although Alexander Cross does catch him and throw him back into the ring. Alexander Cross going for another Davy Jones attempt, potentially trying to make AJ Styles tap. I cannot remember if AJ has tapped to this move before. Potentially there is history here where Alexander Cross believes that to be the best, you have to tap at one of the best submission artists in WWE today. AJ Styles works out of it again, really starting to wear on that arm of AJ Styles before he gets whipped Alexander Cross into the wall, into the steel cage wall there, and tries to make another escape attempt again. Obviously not going to work. Alexander Cross up and moving once again, having the time of his life in this match. You can just tell that Alexander Cross is enjoying himself for the way he's acting. As much as AJ Styles and him have a very heated rivalry, they are very respectful of each other and do enjoy being in the ring against each other. Two of the best in the industry today. Another kick out at 2 after following an inverted DDT from Alexander Cross. Another attempt to get him out. Alexander Cross just trying to work his way back into this match. Tried to go for an out to sea. AJ Styles reversing and throwing him into a swinging neck breaker of sorts, a backbreak neck breaker is the correct terminology there, actually. Going for another escape attempt after that, potentially just trying to break that morale of Alexander Cross as he makes his way to the top of the cage. Alexander Cross in hot pursuit. Once again, just trying to position himself to get right at that foot to try and drag him in much easier and potentially even hurt that ankle that would really slow down AJ Styles as he gets pulled back down off the top of the cage. Alexander Cross once again just trying to knock him down. AJ trying to make his way back to that top there as he gets thrown into the side of the steel cage, falls down. Alexander Cross debating if he should just try and leave, and opts not the way of Alexander Cross to run away and win a steel cage match that way. Wants to pin him in the center of the ring to get that victory. Breaking character. The game was just not letting me input buttons there. Just ignore that. A running kick to the side of AJ Styles, not able to duck it this time. Going for another out to sea, connects to AJ Styles, goes for that pin attempt. 1, 2, lets go of the pin. Maybe AJ Styles has gotten into the head of Alexander Cross. Catches him in another Styles Clash. Styles Clash number 2 to end the match. Pins Alexander Cross. 1, 2, 3. AJ Styles wins. What a performance.
Here is your winner, and the new WWE Intercontinental Champion, the phenomenal AJ Styles!
These two men have lots of history building into this WrestleMania match. Early on, Alexander Cross dethroned Roman Reigns from his legendary Universal title career, and now at the end of his career, will, in his last match, he be able to beat Roman Reigns and retain his WWE Championship as he retires.
The following champion versus champion contest is a ladder match and is for the WWE Championship.
Beginning underway, the two men, Alexander Cross goes for a sharp kick, just like he started the match all those years ago. Roman Reigns catches it, though. It connects with a sharp punch to Alexander Cross's face. Alexander Cross goes for a beautiful suplex onto Roman Reigns before landing that running leg drop. Roman Reigns down already in the center of the ring, rolls out of the way of the third one. Rolls out of the ring, immediately tries to grab an equalizer in that ladder. These two men have tons of history together. Very early on in Alexander Cross's career, he would dethrone Roman Reigns' legendary run with the Universal Championship that he would then later lose to Edge. Obviously has had multiple Universal title reigns since then, being able to move between any brands as he sees fit because he was part of the elite club that Vince McMahon added him to. Quite early on in his career, the earliest member of that group, about 2 years in. This is a legendary 7-year-long career for Alexander Cross, one of the greatest to ever perform in that ring, and one of the most electrifying performers. Originally, Alexander Cross was going to be fighting The Rock in tonight's main event, but Roman Reigns made a change to that plans when he choked out The Rock backstage earlier on at the start of the show, finding Rock backstage completely unconscious and taking that place in this match, wanting to be the one to finally retire and reunify the WWE and Universal Championships in his name, wanting to end the career of Alexander Cross on a very, very sad note. Alexander Cross already announced to be retiring following WrestleMania, wants to go and start his family in Canada, and has already been announced to be a member of the Hall of Fame for next year. Will be the flagship person, immediately locking Roman Reigns into a Davy Jones's locker, just trying to wear the man out, take the big man down, prevent him from being able to climb the ladder, prevent him from stopping Alexander Cross from climbing the ladder, and preventing and Roman Reigns breaks out of it. Roman Reigns not being able to get any offense in against Alexander Cross here today before Alexander Cross whips him to the ropes, and both men collide. Very standard from Alexander Cross, not really being able to catch people on those run backs. Alexander Cross running the ropes, trying to build up that energy before running to and hitting a running leg drop on the back of the neck of Roman Reigns. Alexander Cross has had a legendary career here in WWE, an absolutely fantastic one. Diving axe handle, gets met with a sharp punch to the gut from Roman Reigns. Obviously, in this match, Alexander Cross is just trying to cement that legacy, being able to retire holding the WWE Championship, and has already stated that in his absence, when he leaves and retains, Roman will not be able to challenge for it until after a tournament to crown the new one with your favorites from NXT. People like Ciampa will be able to participate in the match. Keith Lee, bunch of those high caliber talents are all the people who will be in the WWE Championship match. Nobody from the main roster will be in that match. This is a decree from Alexander Cross that will be respected upon his leaving. Alexander Cross is open to the idea of coming back, but wants to retire and take the time off to start that family of his. Alexander Cross will be a phenomenal member into the WWE Hall of Fame, joining the likes of John Cena, The Rock, The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the likes of them, who has carried the brand on their back, just like Alexander Cross has in these past 7 years. One of the most breakout, most talented performers to come out of the Performance Center of his year. Paragon J. Pierce obviously retired last year with a pretty standard and well thought out career. Will likely be a Hall of Famer, just not on the same level as Alexander Cross. J. Pierce, one of Alexander Cross's classmates in that same year. Very, very good friends behind the scenes, obviously on camera. Not the greatest of friends, but they are good friends nonetheless. Worked together to get Alexander Cross his first intercontinental title reign that he would then hold for many years, eventually losing that title to Alexander Cross, really elevating that title to the top. Or he would lose to AJ Styles, really elevating that title in the absence of Roman Reigns in the Universal Championship on SmackDown. In the 3 years since that match, however, Alexander Cross won the U.S. title again, WWE Championship again, beat Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship, beat Cody Rhodes for the Universal Championship, multiple-time champion in all the regards. Alexander Cross, really, truly, one of the greatest performers that WWE has ever seen. We have not talked about this match very much because really the outcome of the match doesn't super matter. This is more the story of Alexander Cross's career. Getting hit by a spear from Roman Reigns, Alexander Cross just really wanting to retain the title so that the wish of the NXT guys being in the tournament for it when it retires is fulfilled. But Alexander Cross would be completely fine losing to Roman Reigns as well. He understands that Roman Reigns is a very, very powerful competitor, very powerhouse athlete. Trying to knock him off that ladder, though, to try and give some of the younger guys the thing. Climbing up to the top of that ladder, hitting a diving elbow drop onto Roman Reigns, setting him up. Roman Reigns standing up, getting into it, catching him with a Davy Jones, trying to put Roman Reigns down and out, just so that he can climb up that ladder with no interruption. Alexander Cross again climbing to the top of that ladder, though, thinking about it, opting not to, reaching for that title belt, and he will, struggling to get that lock off. Roman Reigns gets up. Roman Reigns climbing to the other side of the ladder as Alexander Cross tries to stop. Alexander Cross sees Roman Reigns getting up there, stops trying to fiddle with the locks, fighting on top of the ladder in a very precarious position. Alexander Cross and Roman Reigns at the very end of Alexander Cross's career. Alexander Cross knocks Roman down, reaches for the belt, and begins working on those final little locks as he makes his way into the Hall of Fame. At the end of WrestleMania, Alexander Cross retains the WWE Championship for the last time and puts an end and an exclamation mark on his storied career.
Here is your winner, and still the WWE Champion, Alexander.
All right, really quick at the end of the series here, I just wanted to kind of talk about my thoughts and kind of what's next if we do a MyRise female or whatever. Probably not for a little bit is the short answer. I think this game is really good. I kind of wish there was a solid ending to the MyRise story. However, it is what it is. There's not much I can really do about it. That's why this episode was very not MyRise. It is just me creating a story in my head of like, yeah, that's probably how Alexander Cross would retire. The character of Alexander Cross was originally meant to kind of just be like a pirate type character and have like a big faction and whatever, but then you couldn't really do that in MyRise. There's a lot of flexibility in MyRise to do whatever you wanted, but I never really got the opportunity to kind of build out some of those ideas just because of the limiting factors and the fact that unless you're in a storyline involving like the championship, you don't really walk out with it, which really didn't sit well with me, as I'm sure you guys could tell throughout the series. But it was fine. I can't imagine that the female one is going to be a very good story. There's no belts for the women. They make a story for you in the women's version where you become the women's intercontinental title because Bayley decides that that's what she is. Yeah. But it would be an interesting story to explore potentially later down the line. But you know what, it'll be fine. I think for now, we're going to put the end on WWE 2K22 content. MyRise has been a journey. And I think I did a pretty good job at building up the character of Alexander Cross. We did a couple different like shifts in like kind of how he acted. We obviously debuted with a very tailored towards a heel gimmick, which I think was fine. Pivoting into the very flashy face, and then the Wanderer is kind of what I was calling the last iteration internally. Where he was much more violent and serious, just trying to capture the Intercontinental title, the last title that he hadn't held. And then I was like, let's do, for when I kind of thought about the finale, I kind of wanted to run back AJ Styles, Alexander Cross, because that match was kind of glossed over, and I don't think it should have been. So we did this steel cage match for the SC title, as you guys saw at the beginning of this video, where I purposefully lost, shocking, because I think that would be the most convincing person that Alexander Cross could lose to, and we debuted the last attire, which was the paint attire, which is a nod to something. And if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. That's that. Where he is a face again because he's reached his goal, climbed the mountaintop, and proven himself as the one of the best to ever be in the business. And then obviously we time skip 3 years later to the end of his career where he fights Roman Reigns in a ladder match. And I do say in the commentary that it was supposed to be The Rock. It was. And then I didn't have the points. So I was like, yeah, we'll just do it against Roman Reigns. It'll be fine. He's just as big a draw. But yeah, that is the 2K22 MyRise story for Alexander Cross. We might come back and do one for a female character. I don't know. Probably not for a while. Probably not at all. I hope you guys did enjoy the series. Starting next week, I believe we are going to do a week of Quincasts in these last two spots. And then we will start Monster Hunter Stories 2. Wings of something, rather. So I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.